Hi, Kiko.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Good, Kiko. How are you doing?
El hombre penguino, I see, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Congratulations on the film. What drew you to a film like Penguin Lessons? I know you've worked with Jeff Pope before.
Well, Jeff and I said we worked on a bunch of films, and some he's written that I've been in, and some we've written together. He told me he was writing this film and said, "Would you be interested in it?" And I was like, "Well, okay, it sounds interesting. I mean, it sounds interesting. I do projects apart from him. He does them apart from me, and we come together." And he was telling me he was working on this thing. I was saying, "Oh, that sounds kind of interesting," but I wasn't. He said, "Do you want to be the guy?" I was like, I don't know if I want to be in a film about a cuddly penguin. It doesn't sound like my thing at all. Um, and the more he told me about it, it was set in Argentina. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Let's talk more about it. And I went and visited Buenos Aires and saw
Oh,
the,
nice.
I remember the history of the military dictatorship. So I kind of thought, something. Um, if there's a way of marrying that with the idea of this penguin, then maybe there's a film about that where you can have this dark, tumultuous time, and the penguin can be a little bit of light relief, and the penguin can the maybe there's a symbiosis where the darkness of the political situation stops the penguin
Yeah,
being cuddly, and the penguin stops the discussion about malevolent forces being too much like medicine,
right.
and hopefully the two things sort of cancel each other out, if you like, and also then we made sure that my character we thought if we make it his personal story interesting or more interesting than the real guy who existed, who still exists, Tom Michelle, who's a nice guy. Let's
Yeah.
let's make him less nice. Let's make him cynical and battle hardened and just disengaged from the world. And then we've got somewhere for him to go. The penguin could be the catalyst that changes his attitude.
Was there something specific about Tom's memoir that kind of resonated with you the most when you read it?
Yeah, just the fact that the penguin that's his it kind of just the one thing that we do try to take from it for the film is they're using the penguin to enlighten people and use it as this tool, realizing that what could seem like a burden can actually be something that actually liberates you. And I think that was the key thing that he ended up connecting with these kids in a much more meaningful way because of this small furry animal.
Yeah.
That was a key thing I think we took from his
So I'm
book.
assuming that you are an animal lover. You have to be to work with a penguin, right?
I am. I got dogs and cats. I'm one of those guys. And I when we first started the film, we did a thing. I had to bond with the penguin, so I went to visit them. This very nice place where they're looked after, and there's two hero penguins called Baba and Richard who played the main penguin, and I would greet them every morning and pet them and say hello so they could hear my voice again, make sure they got used to me. And I liked it. I liked seeing them in the morning. I liked talking to them. In some ways, what I didn't realize is that it actually benefited me as a person, not just as an actor making everything professional, making sure they were well cared for, but it calms you down. It's a good way to start the day is chatting to a penguin with a coffee in your hand, and I loved it. Yeah, and
I actually didn't know that there was penguins in Argentina. So what can you say that you learned about them now that you've had one as a co-star? I'm guessing it is easy to talk to them.
they are what they call, I think, Magellan penguins, I think they're
Hmm.
called. Although this was a humble, Humblin penguin. I'm not an expert on the names, but slightly different kind of penguin than the one that was in the book, but they're kind of similar. Um,
Hmm.
uh, learn about them. Well, is that we had to make sure that we worked with them at the right time because
Mm.
they have a mating cycle and a molting cycle and a melting cycle, a mating cycle, and you had to get them in the right time so as not to cause them any distress. But uh, on an anecdotal level, what I learned about them was that for myself is that uh, they are their inscrutability, like in the film, you sort of project things onto that. They seem to be we talk about mindfulness, don't we? That you have to live in the moment. And you look at a penguin and think, okay, so he's not got any anxiety about the past. He's not got that much anxiety about the future. He's just in the moment, And
Right.
that's what I took from it. I thought, okay, I need to be more like the penguin.
Now, I'm a Mexican American myself, but I'm not bilingual, which was very impressive, your Spanish. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience, learning that
Well,
dialogue?
I'm
Was it just the dialogue,
I'm
the line?
not I'm not a Spanish speaker. I studied it for like a year, 40 years ago. More than
Okay.
that, 45 years ago, I studied Spanish for a year, and I knew enough about the pronunciation and what certain words meant, and I learned it phonetically and had a coach.
Okay.
And but I liked I wanted to get it right, and they were impressed that it was an entirely Spanish crew, and they came up, pat me on the back, and went, "You sounded like a native," and I was like, "Yay!" So yeah, it was fun and it was a challenge, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to speak a bit of Spanish, and I said to Jeff, the writer, I said, let's have him when he let there should be a mixture of Spanish and English. He's teaching English, so he can talk English to the kids because he's supposed to, and that's what an English teacher would do. But when it's appropriate, he should speak Spanish. So it's because that's what would happen, and sometimes people elect to speak English is pretty universal, but I
Right.
didn't want to shirk that. We didn't want to dodge that, so let's embrace it. And sometimes sometimes as a writer, and I didn't write it, but I have written with Jeff, and I suggested things. You
Of
say,
course.
let's do this. In fact, then you realize, okay, now you've just made work, and I've just made work for myself. But it's always good to it's not a bad thing to make things difficult for yourself if it makes things more authentic.
You played a teacher before. Did the classroom scenes come naturally to you now that you were playing it more like Dead Poet Society instead of Hamlet too?
Um, yeah, I feel quite comfortable playing a teacher. I guess I probably more like Tom Michelle than I was in the guy in Hamlet too. Um, but my brother's a teacher, my sister's a teacher. A lot of people. I'm from Irish Catholic background, and
Yeah.
a lot of people from that background that came from lower down the social classes, becoming a teacher was a way out of poverty.
Right.
Um, and so I was surrounded by people who were teachers, and it was so I like to think if I had been a teacher, I would have been a pretty good one. I would have engaged with the subject and tried to make things interesting. It's just not, the worst thing to be as a teacher is boring. Just and that's I think that would be my greatest fear. I think I wouldn't be boring. I might go off piste and not stick to the curriculum, but
Right. I'll make this my last question, but since we're speaking of Hamlet too, where do you think Dana Marsh would be if you checked on him today? What would he be doing right now?
Marsh. I think he'd be doing something engaged in the community because the one thing he wanted to do is like he's the supreme optimist. That's what naive, but an optimist. I think he
Uh-huh.
would still be engaged with society. He might be running a theatre group if he was not in teaching anymore. I think some sort of community theatre group, um, trying to inspire young people. I think that he would be doing something like that. I'm not sure he would have lasted too long in teaching, but I
He
think he would
seems like
definitely.
somebody that would bring in a penguin to this classroom too, I think. Maybe.
Oh, he would totally bring a penguins to the classroom. Absolutely, he would. Yeah.
Hey, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Steve. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you very much. Congratulations on the film.
Thanks, Kiko.
All right. Have a good
Cheers.
day.